everybody, welcome back to another YouTube video. I'm Rachel Takeman and I'm trying to better myself in 2020 by tackling a new goal every month and tracking it all through YouTube videos. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you haven't already, click the subscribe button down below and press that notification bell so you won't miss a video. This week is a special week because it's my crowdsourced episode. If you guys haven't checked out my last videos, check out the link at the top of this screen. Most of you know that my January goal was meal prepping. Throughout the month, you guys have given me some awesome suggestions for how to make meal prepping easier. And you've given me some awesome recipes too. So I decided that for this final week of January, I would make all of your recipes and use all of your suggestions. Usually for these videos, I track my week Wednesday through Tuesdays, but since I had so many recipes and suggestions, I tracked this last week Wednesday through Friday. Thank you guys so much for all of your recipes and suggestions. I really appreciate all of your tips and advice. If you suggested something to me over the course of this month, keep watching to see your suggestion. And stay tuned until the end of this video to learn what my February goal is. Thank you guys so much for all your support last week. If you haven't seen last week's video, check out the link at the top of the screen. Last week, I didn't do so hot, and you guys were all so supportive and encouraging to me, and I appreciate it so much. I'm really tough on myself to keep myself accountable, but I really appreciate all of your kind words. Last week, I didn't do great with breakfasts, but this week I had my bagels on hand, and I ate a bagel sandwich for breakfast every day. And I explained how last week I struggled with travel foods. So I want to thank you guys for all of your great suggestions. So many people gave me many great suggestions for on-the-go snacks such as nuts, protein bars, and beef jerky. I'll definitely be trying these the next time I travel, which will be in mid-February, and I'll give you guys an update on how those suggestions helped. Now, instead of going through every meal I ate this week like I usually do, I'm gonna just give you guys the highlights. As I've said in the past, I get in the habit of eating the same things over and over if I like them. So some of the snacks and meals that I made at the start of this past week were repeat recipes like my roasted chickpeas. But speaking of roasted chickpeas, I had a suggestion to make them a different way. Emily messaged me through Instagram and suggested that I make a salt and vinegar version of my chickpeas. So on Thursday night, I made those. I soaked the chickpeas in vinegar for about 10 minutes and then roasted them the same way that I usually do, but with salt on them instead of steak seasoning and salt like I usually do. She also suggested trying coconut oil instead of olive oil. I loved this variation of the roasted chickpea recipe. I love the salt and vinegar flavor. The only thing that I found is because they were soaked in vinegar, they came out a little less crunchy. So next time I make them, I'm gonna roast them a little bit longer, probably about 40 minutes instead of 30. But I'm so excited that I have a new way to make roasted chickpeas. So thank you so much for your suggestion, Emily. On Thursday, I also made this ravioli. Now, this was not a crowdsourced suggestion, but it is something super easy that I wanted to tell you all about. These raviolis are in the frozen section at Aldi, and they're a specialty item, so they're not always in stock. But whenever they are, I grab a bag or two because they're so delicious. They're called pear and gorgonzola filled ravioli. I usually just put butter and cheese on them because I think sauce would take away from the yummy flavor. They're also so easy to make. You can keep them in your freezer and just boil them in water for about 5 minutes. So easy. So if you see these in your local Aldi, be sure to check them out. On Friday afternoon, I started on making some of my suggested recipes. I made 2 recipes that were suggested by 2 separate people that actually paired really well together. The first was a chicken recipe suggested by Kara on Instagram. This chicken was super easy to make. I made a mixture of breadcrumbs, mayo, and spices like Italian seasoning, salt, pepper, garlic powder, and oregano. Then I put this mixture on top of the chicken and cooked it at 350 degrees for 35 minutes. So easy. And it went really well with the other recipe that I made. The second recipe was a quinoa salad suggested by my cousin Grace via text. She usually puts this recipe on top of spinach to make it into a salad, but since I had so many suggestions for lunch and dinner meals, I decided to make this as a side dish to my chicken, and it was so delicious. I really didn't think that I liked quinoa because I've never liked it very much in the past, but this was so good. It's totally changed my mind about quinoa, and I'm really excited to try more quinoa recipes. Since I've never really made quinoa before, I got this boil in a bag quinoa, which was super easy. Then I cooked chopped carrots, onions, celery, and pepper in a skillet with coconut oil. Then I added in the quinoa and added fresh parsley, Parmesan cheese, and spices like garlic, pepper, salt, and turmeric. Like I said, this went really well with the chicken recipe and it was a perfect side dish. I usually only want pasta as my side dish, but this was so yummy that it didn't make me wish I had pasta at all. So I'll definitely be making this one again and experimenting with which veggies I put in the dish. I brought this meal with me for my lunches this week. For my dinner, I made another recipe suggested to me by my cousin Alicia through Instagram. This recipe was called chicken soup with lemon. It was pretty easy because the chicken it called for was rotisserie chicken, so it didn't even need to be cooked. I made the orzo pasta and chopped up some veggies like onions, leeks, celery, and carrots. I then threw it all in a big pot with some spices like thyme, garlic, salt, and pepper, along with a bay leaf, and then I put in the chicken stock and lemon juice. It was super easy to just throw all together and it was really tasty. It was kind of like chicken noodle soup but with a lemony twist. I'll definitely be making this one again and experimenting with more easy soups like this because it was a really easy meal to bring with me to work. Another thing I made over the weekend was an egg casserole in the crock pot, which was suggested by Heather via Facebook. I used the rest of the chopped up peppers and onions from Grace's quinoa salad and also added some spinach. I'm not sure if I really did this one right because the casserole was kind of soggy, but I really love the idea of throwing everything in the crock pot and having a super easy breakfast in the morning. So if you guys have made this before and you have any suggestions to make it a little less soggy, let me know in the comments below. Am I supposed to cook the veggies before putting them in the crock pot? Will adding milk help? Was spinach a bad idea because of the moisture? Let me know your tips. One of the tips I got to make my bagel sandwich better was to make the eggs ahead of time and use mason jar lids to get the right shape. This was suggested to me by Marianne via Facebook. So I tried this over the weekend as well. It worked great to have eggs pre-made in the morning and the mason jar lid was the perfect shape. So I'll definitely be doing that again, and based on a suggestion from Jill on Facebook, I'll be trying to freeze my breakfast bagel so it's even more pre-made in the morning. One of the other snack recipes I received was from Amanda on YouTube. This recipe was for Texas caviar. Let me tell you guys, this is life-changing. As I mentioned in a previous video, my go-to snacks when I'm at home are chips and salsa or hummus and cheese and crackers. So Amanda's suggestion was to mix together a can of black beans, a can of corn, a can of black-eyed peas, and a jar of salsa. Super, super easy, and I love it. And it was so delicious. I don't think I'll ever go back to just plain chips and salsa. My husband and I both love this snack, and it's such an easy way to add protein to my usual snack. You have to eat a lot of chips and salsa to get full, and it's not super nutritious, but adding all those beans gives us so much more protein, and it's so much more filling. And it's super cheap to just add 3 cans to the mix. So thank you so much, Amanda, for this awesome suggestion that I'm definitely going to be making every week going forward. Throughout the week, I made some more of the crowdsourced suggestions. One of these suggestions was for barbecue pulled chicken in the crock pot. I got this suggestion from my Aunt Neat via text and from Amanda on YouTube. All you have to do is throw chicken breast in the crock pot with a bottle or 2 of barbecue sauce and cook it on low overnight. Then this chicken can be used in so many ways. I have to admit, I messed it up the first time. I used thinly sliced chicken breasts, so they burned so bad even though I left it on low overnight. So on take 2, I used regular chicken breast, and this worked great. It was super easy to make, and it's a great recipe for whenever I'm in the mood for barbecue chicken. I'm also interested in trying this with some other sauces. Aunt Nee also suggested a Pinterest recipe to me called ground beef stuffed zucchini boats. I'll have to say, I was a little bit intimidated by these because they look so fancy on Pinterest, but they were actually a lot easier than I thought they'd be. For this recipe, I had to cut zucchini in half lengthwise and then scoop out the insides. Then I cooked the ground beef on the stove and mixed it with garlic, onion, bruschetta, marinara sauce, and spices like salt, pepper, and Italian seasoning. Once this was done, I scooped the mixture into my hollow zucchini, topped it with mozzarella cheese, and put them in the oven for about 15 minutes. It was so much easier than I expected, and it looks so fancy. I'm so excited to try these again and to try my own version of the recipe. Finally, the last suggestion that I received was a recipe I got in the mail from my grandma. This recipe is called curry chicken divan. Now, I've never cooked with curry before, so this will be something new. I didn't actually get a chance to make that recipe this week because I got so many more recipes than I actually needed for this week, which was really awesome. But I'm recording this video on Saturday, so I really waited until the last minute. But still, we don't need any more food to be made right now. Our fridge is full. But I'll definitely show you guys how that recipe came out in the next video. Thank you all so much for your awesome suggestions. It was so fun trying new recipes this week, and you guys have inspired me to try some new things and step out of my comfort zone with cooking. So even though my January goal is over, you can always feel free to send me a new recipe or a suggestion that I can try. As I mentioned in my very first video, at the end of every month, I'm going to reevaluate the goal that I set for myself and determine whether I need to change it in any way. After a whole month of meal prepping, specifically focusing on lunches and dinners, I don't think I'm going to change my meal prepping goal. I'm going to continue making meals over the weekend so that I have food ready to go for lunch and dinner throughout the week, because this has been working really well for me. I'm also going to continue making my bagel sandwiches so my breakfasts are more filling and more nutritious. And thanks to a suggestion from Mary Ann on Facebook, I'm going to keep a pack of bagels in my freezer so I never run out midweek. The only way I'm going to change my goal going forward is to be a little bit less strict about going out to eat. Now, this isn't to say that I'm going to have a free-for-all like I did in 2019. I'm still going to bring lunches and dinners to work so that I don't stop for fast food just because I don't feel like cooking. But I think for February, I'm just going to give myself one cheat throughout the month. One time where I can go get fast food or some food for myself without feeling bad about it. And like I said in other videos, I'll still go out to eat with my husband and with friends and family. I don't see anything wrong with that at all. So I'm still going to focus on cooking and meal prepping, but maybe I will not be quite as hard on myself when I'm really craving someone else's cooking. Now that January is over, I'm turning my focus away from nutrition, even though I'm still going to continue my meal prepping. February's goal is going to have to do with fitness. I have a gym membership, but I'm embarrassed to say that I have not gone to my gym in 6 months. Let me explain one of the reasons why it's so hard to get the motivation to go out to the gym. It's not like it's far from my house, it's just not super convenient. So here's a map of Central PA for those of you who are not familiar with the area. I live here in Mechanicsburg. I work in 3 different offices. One of my work locations is in Hanover, which is here, about 50 minutes from my house. The second location is in Dover, which is here, about 30 minutes from my house. And the third location is New Oxford, which is here, about 40 minutes from my house. Now, I don't mind my commute to work. It gives me time to wake up and get ready for the day in the morning, and time to wind down and put work behind me at night. And I get to listen to a lot of podcasts. But as you can see in my map, it would be super convenient if my gym was right here in the middle in Dillsburg, but it's not. And I didn't want to get a gym membership near any of my work locations because they're kind of far from my house and I'm not at one location for work every day. So that didn't really seem convenient. Now, I could have gone to the Planet Fitness that's on my way home from work, but Planet Fitness does not have any of the classes that I want. I really enjoy going to spin classes and trying new classes at a gym, and I know that if I get in the routine of going to a specific class, I'll stick to it. So I chose to go to LA Fitness because it's not that much more expensive than Planet Fitness, but they have a variety of classes. And LA Fitness is located here in Camp Hill. It's only about 10 minutes from my house, which is really nice, but as you can see, it's not on the way home from work, and I don't really go to the Camp Hill area that often. On a work day, I get home around 7:30, so if I stop home with the intent of going back out to go to the gym, or to go anywhere really, I'm gonna put it off and I'm probably not gonna go. So one thing I want to get in the habit of in February is keeping a gym bag in my car. This way I can easily stop at the gym before I go home. I also want to sit down and figure out a schedule for classes I want to go to. Like I said, if I get in the habit of going to, say, the 5:30 spin class every Wednesday, I'm more likely to stick to it. So I'm going to create a class schedule for myself. But overall, my goal for the month of February is to go to the gym every single day. Now, you might be thinking,
I thought you were doing realistic goals and not trying to set yourself up for failure.
Valid question. Yes, I'm doing realistic goals, and this one might seem a little crazy considering I haven't gone to LA Fitness in 6 months. But my goal is not to do a hardcore workout every day for the whole month of February. My goal is to go to the gym every day for the month of February. Even if I go there and just do an easy workout on the elliptical while watching a YouTube video. Even if I just go and sit in the sauna. I want to focus on just getting there. Just getting in the door. Getting myself out of the house even though it's cold and making an effort for my fitness. And I think that I'm going to find that I like going to the gym. I've never actually regretted going when I have. I get so in my head thinking that I hate exercise, but every time I go I feel so much better afterwards. So my goal is to go to the gym every single day so I can get get in the habit of going there and get more comfortable there. And to remind myself every single day that I don't hate exercise and it's not miserable. So let me know in the comments below if you think I'm just crazy or if you think this is a good goal. I know it might sound unachievable, and I don't think it's a sustainable long-term goal. I don't think I'm going to go to the gym 365 days a year, but I do think that if I go to the gym 28 days in a row, I'll make a habit of going more often. And if I set a schedule for myself of which days to go to classes, which days to do cardio, which days to do lifting, I'm going to keep up with that schedule going forward. So this goal is going to be a little different than January's because I anticipate that at the end of the month I'm going to make a lot of changes, but I'm still really excited about getting my foot in the door and getting more comfortable at the gym. Thank you guys so much for watching. As always, if you have any suggestions or advice for me, please let me know in the comments down below or just message me. I'll still take any food-related suggestions from January, and now I'd love your fitness suggestions. What do you guys like to do at the gym? How do you guys get yourselves out of the house in the winter to go to the gym? Let me know. This week's shout out goes to Victor. Thank you so much for subscribing, watching my videos, and for commenting on so many of them, Victor. If you like this video, click that thumbs up button and comment down below. And if you haven't already, click the subscribe button and the notification bell so you don't miss an update. Be sure to tune in next week to see how my daily exercise goes and to learn about a new thing that I'm going to be doing with my YouTube channel. I hope you guys have an awesome week, and I'll see you next week.